In this video, I'm going to talk about the best aspect of Assetto Corsa Competizione, and it's probably something that you might not expect. Welcome back to the Gamer Muscle YouTube channel. Let's get driving. Now, we're at Laguna Seca here. I'm in the Saudi Audi. We've set the AI to 95, and we're starting at the back of the grid. We've got 30 cars as well. Let's see how many we can overtake in this ridiculously short GT race of 10 minutes. So, the best aspect of Assetto Corsa Competizione, simply put, is the fact that Kunos are absolutely chiseling away and hammering away at this title, and have done since its launch. And I have to say, it's not just Kunos. We've seen this with some other sim developers, Studio 397, Sector 3, but it's really probably most noticeable with ACC and Kunos. Just the amount of additional features and support and content and work that's gone into it and updating. Like every week there's some hot fix with a slight adjustment and improvement. That might not be a huge thing, but it's just constant work and polish, which has just built over time to massively improve Assetto Corsa Competizione from how it was at launch, or even within the first 3 months of launch. And I think it's sort of easy to take that for granted. And you're like, oh well, the game's getting better, great. But it's actually quite rare when you start getting towards larger game studios, and also when you keep in mind that Kunos were effectively acquired by another company. They kind of sold. I don't know how much ownership the original Kunos boys have got and how that's worked, but they're not like the tiny. They're still pretty small, but they're not like the tiny studio that they once were. They're not the bedroom coders of Netcar days, that's for sure. And yet, despite them moving along, despite them working on bigger things, and despite them not necessarily needing to, from a base financial standpoint, they have kept working and putting in the same work philosophy that they always did with Netcar, with Assetto Corsa, and it really is pretty bloody awesome. I mean, I guess you could say it's a relatively common thing with certain indie titles, but it's equally relatively common for many indie titles to they drop and that's it. And it's almost always the case with higher quality and approaching AAA and AAA titles for the developers to literally release the game and do nothing, or release the game, remove a ton of content from it, and then sell that over the next year and a half as DLC without actually doing much to really improve the base game, or without really addressing any of the concerns of the community of that base game, which effectively allows the game to die out. And I think they sort of intend for the consumer to, they've made the money off the initial purchase, they make a bit more money off the DLCs, and then they're hoping that the consumers got bored of that title and that they go and buy the next game that comes out with the buzz and excitement that comes from that. Battlefield, Call of Duty, these types of things. So it's really nice to see in sim racing, and it's really nice to appreciate it, I think, that we've got ACC, we've got Race Room, we've got Studio 397 with R Factor 2 constantly. Hang on, we changed that engine map here. We're on the wrong engine map. We're on the wrong ABS. There we go, ABS 1, engine map 1, happy times. Constantly improving and adding to the content. And then, the last DLC for ACC, quite frankly, is absurd value for money. I mean, you guys know that follow the channel and watch my live streams. I'm not the biggest fan of the force feedback in ACC, and I'm not the biggest fan of certain aspects of the very specific aspects of the car handling. I mean, come on, I'm a sim racer. There's always going to be something. But even with that in mind, and regardless of what you may or may not like of a sim, the fact that you just know with this, you're getting absurd value for money. The DLC tracks, the Kiami, Laguna Seca, Suzuka, what was the other one? I've forgotten off the top of my head its name. Just look at the quality of the track models. It's insane. Like the actual base tracks as well in Assetto Corsa Competizione. The 3D models, the road surface, the surrounding environment, the texture work, it's bonkers. I mean, really, what Kunos need to do is have a Segway in this so that you can go around and admire the track details properly, or have a walking mode. People have suggested that. I really don't know why they haven't done that. Just have a little soapbox or something. I don't know, you know, just a little walking mode. Put your VR headset on and we could go for a little virtual jog through the racetracks. Because you really do have to stop or look at the replays to admire the details. And then I know it's kind of ridiculous to compare one sim to another in certain ways, because you know they operate with different communities, they have different features. But you know you've got to you have to make the comparison between the tracks in ACC and the tracks in iRacing, and you're like, each track in iRacing is like £12 to £15, give or take, after you paid tax and you know all that business. And then for that same price of a single track, with the last DLC, you get 4 tracks that are better quality than the iRacing tracks, more up to date, high fidelity textures. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's so good that we're in a position with sim racing that's the case. You know, you only have to go back like 5 or 6 years, and it was like, it seemed like almost a miracle that Assetto Corsa had laser scan tracks, or that Sims, even like, I don't know, say like 9-10 years ago, you know, you'd be playing R Factor 1 and that, you know, some of the mod tracks look like bloody N64 race stages with like 3 polygons. Whoa, we're going over a bump. Oh no, that wasn't a bump, that was a ski slope. But you know, so I think it's easy to take things for granted, as I say. I mean, maybe as a consumer we're meant to take things for granted, and you know, just keep giving sim developers, just shout at them, give them abuse. That's the way of the world. Can I sneak up the inside here? I probably should have put the AI on a bit harder here. But yeah, I just really, and I think, and it's not just me. I think a lot of sim racers really do actually appreciate developers that, it's not even just sim racing. It's in all games. There are the indie developers, as I say, certain developers out there that do obviously care about their product. They're not just doing it for the money. I don't know if that's going to last indefinitely with Kunos in the absolute long run, but as it is now and as it's always been, you know, it's very obvious that they genuinely care about the simulator. It's not just a money-making vehicle. I mean, partly me making these videos in response to, I get a lot of comments of people saying, oh, developers are lazy. That's why they've not done XYZ feature that a specific sim racer wants. And it's like, man, first of all, go and do some games development and then tell me that anything is lazy with a video game. Even if you're genuinely being lazy whilst doing games development, you're probably not being lazy relative to most other types of work. You know, but then it's like, how could you look at ACC? How could you look at R Factor 2 now with 397. How could you look at it and go, oh, that's the developer being lazy? Just the sheer detail in these titles. Not just the graphics, the sounds, the car implementation, the constant adding stuff from forum whinging. It might not always be what I want necessarily, or what a specific person wants in the simulator, but they do listen, and when it's possible and when it makes sense and when they can do it within their time frames, they do actually quite often put stuff into the simulators that people ask for. So no, sim devs aren't lazy. It takes a lot of work. Appreciate it. At the same time, though, guys, you know, they are products. I think people should still shout at developers, complain on forums, and whinge about things that maybe worked in one game and then don't work in another. Bear in mind the developers probably know what the issues are. They probably want them to be fixed themselves, and it's going to drive them crazy. But whinge at them, but also appreciate it, is what I'm saying. You know, don't blindly support developers. Don't be like a weirdo fanboy. I've had a lot of problems with them recently. Not with ACC, weirdly, but you know. But whinge at developers, but appreciate them for what they're doing, whilst also being harsh. That's the moral of this video. So, you know, that was my we only gained 10 places. That was pathetic. Put me in the dustbin. That was my Kunos appreciation, SimDev appreciation video. Do you know what? We're not ending that there. That is crap. We're not ending this video there. Back, restart. Come on, we're doing this better. Right, you can leave this video if you that's that. We talked about that. We've covered that topic. I just wanted to get that out there because I think a lot of people watch my live streams and they're like, "Oh, you're so miserable complaining about these certain things." When I'm live streaming, I'm complaining about the specific thing at that point in time that's irritating me because I'm trying to achieve something. Normally trying to drive fast, normally trying to race people, normally trying to read a chat room, and you know, it's very hard to be rounded and concentrate. So I wanted to get that in a video. That's gone. That's in the video now. That's cleared up. Now let's bloody get a good race performance here. We're going to keep on this difficulty. Why is my camera floating? What's that about? Right. I have too much fuel, but it doesn't matter. We were outperforming them anyway. Right. Traction control to 1. We're doing some racing now, guys. Here we go. Traction control 1. Engine mapping is on my button box. Saudi Audi. I don't have the Saudi Audi music. Sorry about that. It's not on my OBS recording profile that I just set up yesterday. But look, you can see. I can give you an external view. Look at that. Pro tip, by the way, guys: if you paint your car gold, it does make it heavier. This isn't even paint gold. This is gold plated. It will make your car heavier, but that means when you hit into someone, it imparts more energy into them and they go flying off the track, keeping you safe. So it's totally worth it. You do get a penalty with it being heavier, and you think, oh, that'd be terrible race. I'm milking that joke too far. Right, the race is starting with the Saudi Audi. We gained 10 places last one. Let's smash this. Come on, go. Yeah, you definitely a big tip. For those of you driving the Audi, especially in Assetto, well, he's been taken out in Competizione, or any of the cars, to be honest, is there's a gap, is traction control. Try driving with lower traction control. Driving smoother with lower traction control gains you so much more time, especially for quali. In a race, obviously, if you spin from having your traction control too low and you overdrive it, you've just lost all the benefit of turning your traction control down. So you might want to, in a longer race, you might want to keep it turned up. And also, the lower your traction control, the more likely you are to put more wear on the rear tyres. So think about that in the context of a longer race. But if you're doing like the 45-minute race or anything an hour and under, you should, I think in this Audi, in any car that's painted gold, the Saudi, the Aston Martin, any of the easier cars to handle, you should be able to put the traction control on 1. And I think you'll probably find that you gain time, and you'll probably end up driving better from it as well, so that when you then do turn the traction control up, you'll be like, oh, hang on, this is way too easy. So, there's my pro tip, traction control. Come on. Can we get to the front? We've already got 10 places there. I've definitely noticed playing in the Assetto Corsa Competizione, I have noticed that because it's got a tighter tyre model compared to, say, compared to AC and Race Room, the cars have just got a tighter profile. I think they've got lower slip angles as well. And just the general approach I have to take, I have noticed it's made me drive faster in Race Room and other simulators. I find that when I play iRacing as well. It makes me drive better in other simulators because iRacing is overly, in my opinion, but I also think is factually the case, iRacing is overly sensitive when you go over the limit. It's very easy to kill yourself if you overdrive or you push at all. Which makes you like really scared, but it means that you really do focus on nailing brake points and turning in smooth and not doing anything silly. ACC is, mind you, ACC is weird. It's way tighter than AC and Race Room, but it's also still very forgiving when you go over the limit. You do have a lot of control over the car. You can really overdrive it and recover it. You know, you got all this traction control and everything, ABS. But yeah, you do in ACC. You really do have to hit brake points, and your racing line is very noticeably affecting your time. More so I think than it is in AC and Race Room. I mean, obviously you want to be driving the correct racing line, getting on the braking. That's going to be the fastest way to drive in all sims, but I think you can get away with driving in AC and Race Room. Well, there's more freedom to drive corners in different ways in the context of a race than in AC, if that makes sense. But I mean ACC, but in ACC it kind of forces you to focus on the fundamentals of brake point and race line more, I would say. I mean, let me know in the comments if you disagree with me. I'm sure people will too. Sim racers don't ever disagree with each other. They're always in 100% agreement. Come on. Got to get more places here. Less dawdling. I feel with the Audi that I kind of want a traction control 0.5 rather than the 1. I feel like the traction control 1 is too high. Like, you can really hear it biting in, when I think you could still have a little bit more rear action and then just push the throttle less. But hey, I believe the traction control settings of these cars are just what it's what the real cars have them set up to. I wouldn't know. I've never been in a Audi GT3 car, to be honest, in real life, and I don't think I ever will. Come on. Aston Martin in front of us. Oh no, it's a Bentley, sorry. Get your eyes checked, Mr. Muscle. Oh, squeezing it. You do lose safety rating if you contact in single player, so I am still having to be careful here. Come on. I really like the flow of Laguna Seca. I find with the with the ACC handling and tyres and GT3 cars, just the nature of ACC, I find Laguna Seca kind of really goes hand in hand with that. Like, to me, the cars feel sort of very happy with this tightness and speed of corner. Whereas when I play ACC and the drive tracks like Suzuka or Spa, I feel like the cars are like a bit reluctant to go around those longer corners. Like they feel a bit like a brick trying to be pushed around a corner at times. Maybe part of that setup, maybe part of that's my driving, but that's just how I feel relative to the other simulators. And you know, that might be realistic or not. I don't care. You know, that's just the impression I get. Come on. How many are on? 40. We're halfway up the grid. We've got 3 minutes left, and I don't think we're going to get to first. As you move up the grid, I think the cars actually are exponentially faster with the AI. It's a lot easier in single player to overtake a bunch of AI at the start, because AI always struggle to race in traffic. And when there's, you know, if you've got one AI that slows down for a tight corner, the car behind it slows down, the car behind that slows down, and it has a sort of knock-on effect. So T1 with AI is often, if not universally, always slow in every simulator. And as a result, the first 5 or 6 cars drive away and the rest get stuck, making it very easy for you to gain 10, 15 places at the beginning in just about every single sim. Though, you know, I think the general pace and realism of the AI in ACC actually isn't too bad, to be honest. Like, let's not take him out. That was close. Let's say if you put, well, as the AI is right now, this speed, for the vast majority of sim racers, this would probably be a really good pace to sort of get consistent and happy with the car handling, and you know, have a nice challenge trying to race against the AI and overtake them. They don't defend particularly that much or do anything too aggressive. In fact, you know what? Kunos, talking about improvements, they might have improved the amount of the nature of the AI to pit maneuver you, because that's not actually happened in this race. It could just be this track, could be anything, or they could have actually improved that, which would be a nice improvement if they have. One minute 17 left. Come on, we're 30. Come on, top 10. Top 10. You know, ACC does sound fantastic, especially if you pump up the volume. You've got some nice headphones. I'm using Sennheiser 595s, 59. I don't know. I'm using nice Sennheiser headphones. The sound is really in tune in ACC. I think you basically got like Dirt Rally 2, ACC, and Race Room has quite nice sounds, but they're a little bit overdone. Whereas the tonality of the ACC sounds are really, it's in tune. You can turn the volume up, and it's not painful on your ears. Especially if you're doing a longer race. They just sound quite pleasant. With obviously the McLaren Shadow car sounds the best in this. Everyone knows that. That's probably something, someone's going to disagree with that. You know I'm right though. Ah, we got one more lap, are we done? Yes, one more lap, come on. Come on. Top 10. So they've spread out now. I'm actually having to push into the back of the car in front of me. Come on. I'm actually having to push quite a bit now. We're getting close to my actual pace to keep up with these guys. I think my best lap time here was a 1:23.9 or something. So yeah, I mean, I personally don't particularly enjoy racing against AI because I just don't find them natural. But I do find them still a good way to get up to pace with a simulator, and they can be a good way to practice being more consistent under a little bit of pressure, as opposed to, let's go for it. If you hot lap, oh, we held it. That was good. If you just hot lap, you kind of learn how to drive a track without anything around you, and then you'll get in a race and just probably crash. So, highly recommend, especially if you're new to sim racing and you haven't done much online racing, I highly recommend using AI to get up to speed. 12th! Not good enough. Not even a top 10. Right. Sacked. Call yourself a sim racing YouTuber. Don't listen to anything this guy says. He can't drive. Put him in the dustbin. Right. There you go, guys. That was a multi-double combo Super Muck Chicken Nugget special video. It's 2 videos for the price of 1, though the second half was probably not as interesting as the first half. But if you enjoyed this, guys, you know what to do. Click the like button, subscribe, drink your cups of tea. I'll be live streaming again soon. I've got some more videos I want to get done. But yeah, I will see you guys in your sim rigs. Maybe in Hell Let Loose as well, because that game's absolutely fantastic. Or maybe something else. Who knows? But until the next one, guys, thanks for watching. And goodbye, everyone.